Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful turtleneck top made from two very simple stitches. This turtleneck top is absolutely great for those cold weathers. Also, if you'd like the written pattern, be sure to grab that in the description box below. There's a link to my shop. The materials that you need for this pattern are your yarn, scissors, measuring tape, crochet hook. I think that's about it. Also, be sure to subscribe, like, share, comment down below. Let's get into it. You're gonna start by making a chain that goes from your underarm to how long you want it to be. I want to be able to tuck mine in, so I'm going to make a chain of 45 plus 2 to turn my work, so 47 in total. I'm gonna do that and I will meet you once I've got my 47. Now I have my 45, which is about 12 to 13 inches. Blocking off the first two. Into the third, we're gonna go in with a half double crochet. And we're gonna do that for the whole chain, going all the way down until the last one. And you go on doing that, I will meet you at the very end. Now that I've reached the end of row 1, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. For row 2, I'm going to work in the back loops only with the same stitch, which is this half double crochet, beginning from the first. Now chain 2 does not count as a stitch. In the back loops only, I'm going to continue making my half double crochet. And I will do this all the way up, and I will meet you once you've got one more stitch remaining, because that's where we need to make our first increase. So now we have one more stitch to work into, and we're gonna go in with an increase. So you're gonna go in the back loop with one half double crochet, and you're gonna go in the same stitch with another half double crochet, chain 2 and turn your work. To begin row 3, we're gonna also begin with another increase. So into the first, insert one half double crochet, and in the same chain place another half double crochet, and then you're gonna continue placing half double crochets all the way down to the last stitch, and I'll meet you once we get there. To begin row 4, I'm gonna chain 2, and just as we did with row 2, just work all the way up with the back loop, half double crochet. And we've got one more increase to do, so we'll do that together once we've got one more chain left to work into at the very top. So I will meet you once I reach up here. So I'm at the top of row 4, and we've got our last increase to make. That's if you're making a size small like I am. And I've just placed my 2 in there. Now this is the part where it's gone from our underarm and we would like it to reach our shoulder. So I'm going to chain 17 for a size small, which is 15 and 2 to turn. I'll meet you once I've got my 17. So now I have my 17. I'm gonna block off the third chain, and I will place my half double crochet in the third loop, and I will continue doing that all the way down, bearing in mind when you reach here it's still going to be back loop all the way, and I'll meet you once I've reached the end. So I've just finished my row, and this is going to be my shoulder chunk, and for my size small I'm going to have to work 3 rows in total, meaning I've got 2 more rows left. So for whatever size you've got, if you're using the pattern, go on and work the however many rows you need to work for your shoulder chunk. I'm going to do 2 more rows, and I'll meet you once I've got my 2 rows, 3 in total. So now I'm done with my 3 rows, and I have just placed my stitch marker into the 5th chain, counting from the top. So 1 2 3 4 5, because from here when we work We're now going to work from the bottom going up. When we reach here, that's where we're going to start making our first decrease in order to come up with the neck. So I'm going to start working, and I will meet you when I've got 2 stitches left before the stitch marker in order to start making the decrease together. So now I've got 2 more stitches left before the stitch marker, and we're about to do our very first decrease together. So I'm gonna do the very first decrease. What we're gonna do is insert our hook as if we're doing a normal half double crochet, but only we won't finish. Now we've got 3 loops on our hook, and we'll go into the second chain and pull it through. So now we've got 4 loops on the hook, and we'll yarn over and pull through all 4. Chain out 2 as we do and turn. So that's our first row increase. And for this size, we're gonna decrease for about 4 rows. So we have to do another decrease on our second row. So as we just did, into the first, we've got 3 loops on the hook, and then you're gonna insert your hook into the second chain. Now you've got 4 loops on the hook, you yarn over, pull through all 4, and you're gonna continue just like a normal half double crochet. So I've just decreased 2 rows. I'm gonna decrease 2 more rows, so my row coming up and then another row going down, and I'll meet you once I've got my 4 rows done. So I have finished making my 4 rows of decreases, and I have gotten started on the next row, which is row number 12 for the size small, and this is now a normal row. I'm not gonna do any more decreases, and we'll do that together. So I've got just a few more stitches to work to finish off row 12, and that's the last one. And I'm just gonna chain my 2 and turn my work. So for this size small, we're gonna do normal rows. We're gonna do 5 normal rows. So this is now my second, and I shall meet you once I have done my 5 normal rows. Remember, we're not doing any more decreases at the top. We have done our decreases, and if you look at it, you're gonna notice that it's curving in. So we want to have a little flat portion before we start to do another increase to do another shorter portion. So we're gonna do 5 normal rows first, if you're doing a size small, that is, and I'll meet you once I've got my 5 rows. So now I've just finished working my 5 normal rows, and it's time to do an increase just as we did this side. We did a decrease of 4 rows, and we're going to do an increase of 4 rows on this side. So to begin, you're going to chain 2 to begin a new row. And in the first chain right here, we're going to place our first increase, which is going to be 1 normal double crochet, half double crochet, and then another one in the same place, in the same stitch, half double crochet, and then we'll continue working our way going down, and I will meet you once I have completed my work down here and I have come up to do another increase, so we can do the second row increase together. So now I've reached the top of my second increase row, and we're about to do another increase into that last stitch. So we're gonna insert and place our first half double crochet, and then we're gonna go in with a second half double crochet, and we have just made another increase. So I'm going to do this for 2 more rows so that it equals this side. Since we did 4 decrease rows, I'm going to have to do 4 increase rows, and I've just done 2, meaning I've got 2 more left, and I will meet you once I've done my 2, the remaining 2. Just finished my 4 rows of increasing, and if you can see, we have just reached this section right here. So it's time to make this little section. So if you remember, we left 5 chains down here, so which means we have to do the exact same on this side, which means we're gonna chain 5 plus 2 to count as our turning chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blocking this 5th one, we're gonna add 2 more and then begin our our row. So into the third, we're gonna place a half double crochet, and we're gonna go on all the way down. When we reach the rest, we're gonna continue working in the back loop, which is where I have arrived now, and we're gonna continue back loops only. There we go. So the aim is to do what we did on this side to this side as well. So which means now we're gonna have to work for 3 rows if you're doing a size small, that is. So I'm gonna do 3 rows, which this is the first row. I've got 2 more left. So once I'm done with those 2, I shall meet you so that we can see how we're gonna work the decrease rows on this side. So I finished working my 3 rows on my shoulder portion, and I have gotten started on my new row. So if you remember on this side, after we made our increase, we chained 17, which was pretty much giving us 15 stitches. What I've done on this side is I have placed a stitch marker on the 15th stitch, counting from the top going downwards, and that's what you're gonna do, because now on this row we're gonna make our first decrease, because we want to decrease the number of rows that we did on this side. So I shall do the first two rows of decrease with you. So leaving 2 chains before the stitch marker, which are these, I'm gonna do my first decrease. So we're gonna insert our hook. We have 3 loops on the hook, and we'll insert into the next chain. Now we've got 4 loops on the hook. We yarn over and we'll pull through 4, and that's our first decrease. Chain 2 and turn our work. And we're gonna decrease for my size, I'm gonna decrease for 3 rows. If you remember, we increased 3 rows on the other side. So that's the first to the second. Chain, I've got 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 4, and then we're gonna continue going down with rows of half double crochet. So that's just 2 rows for me done. I'm yet to finish my second row, and I will do another row. When I'm coming back up with my third row, I will do another decrease, and I will meet you once I'm 2 chains away from my third decrease. So now I've got 1 more row left to decrease, and I have left my 2 stitches at the top. So we're gonna decrease the last one together with the 4 loops on my hook. I'm gonna pull through all of them, and now we've got 1 more row, which is the normal row, like the very first one that we began with, if you're doing a size small like I am, that is. So all you're gonna do is work your way down without doing any more decreases or increases, and this will be our very last row, and I will meet you at the very end. And so I just finished working the last row, and there we have it. That's 1 panel done, and you want to do the very same thing. You want to make 2 pieces using the very same method, because we're gonna put them together just like that. So go on and make your second piece, and I shall meet you so that we can join everything together and get started working on the neck. So to connect these 2 panels, what you're gonna do, you're gonna put both of them on top of each other, making sure they've aligned properly. And then what we're gonna do is connect using slip stitches. You're gonna I didn't cut off my yarn, as you can see down here. So you're gonna place your hook in the very first stitch you made on this side, just like that. Grab your yarn it over, and just pull it through with a slip stitch, and then I like to hold my work like this. So I'm gonna allocate my second stitch from this side, which is this one right here, and I will just go into the back loops. Might be a little hard. There we go. And also the back loops of the second loop in this one, which is this one right here. And then I will connect with a slip stitch. Then I'll find my third into the back loops only. Can do it. There we go. You want to take your time with this so that it aligns properly. You don't want to miss any stitches. And you're going to find the back loop of that one as well. Grab your yarn, pull through, at the slip stitch just like that. And you're going to go on doing this for all the remaining stitches. And just joining with the slip stitch. So you go on doing that and I'll meet you once you have reached the top right here. So I've got about 3 or 4 more loops to make, to connect, and we'll do just that together so we can close off the end together. So into the back loops only, and one more. Oops. And then since I've reached the end, I'm going to sorry about that. I'm gonna chain one, grab my scissors, found my scissors, and it's like these chickens wait for me to start recording, I swear. And then I'll snip off. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna do the very same thing we did on the other side. And then, oh my goodness, you're gonna do the same for the shoulder portions. Just connect this portion and connect this portion as well, and I will meet you once I have done that for my portions. So I have just finished connecting all the sides. Sorry about the lighting, I'm recording at night. And I've connected the shoulder portions, both sides, and both sides on this side. And now it's time to make the neck. So we're gonna go around. After I finished connecting this side with slip stitches, I chained 1. And now we're gonna go around this place. I mean, it's gonna be a bit easier here because we've got stitches already made. But then it's gonna be this side here that we're gonna try our best to find spaces to place our single crochets. So if you remember, we were chaining 2 in these spaces, so it only makes sense if we're gonna place 2 single crochets. So go on and chain your 1, and then let's get started on placing those single crochets on the sides. So just like that, we'll be placing our single crochets. And we're gonna go all the way around the neck. Looks like we've arrived at the places I was talking about. Okay, so I just made 1. Since we changed 2, I'm gonna have to place 2. And 1 right in there. And then I'll place 2 right here. Another one right here. And I'll go on doing that. So you go on doing that, placing single crochets all the way around your neck, and you should end where you began, and I'll meet you when I get there. So I've just made my way around the whole neck with single stitches, and now it's time to make the neck ribbon. So to do that, we're gonna chain 35. So you go on and chain 35. I have to do this off camera since I have to count. I've just finished making my chain, and now we're gonna work a whole row of single crochets all the way down to where we started the chain. So all we're doing is working a row of single crochets, and I shall meet you once we get down here, once we reach the last one, so I show you how to connect. So now I'm coming down to my last 2 single crochets. There we go. That was the last one. All I'm gonna do is slip stitch into the next 2 single crochets that we made around the neck lining. So this is the first one. Place a slip stitch. Come on. There we go. And into the next one. Place another slip. There we go. So the first slip stitch counts as this row, completes this row, and the second slip stitch counts as a chain 1, since we're going to turn our work and continue working. Now to make the ribbed effect, we're going to be working into the back loop only. So this is our first one, but don't get confused. Remember, we slip stitched 2, so this is 1, 2, and the third one right here is our first stitch that we're going to be working into. So into the back loops only, we're going to go on placing them single crochets, just like that. And that's all we're going to be doing. Once we reach the top, all we're going to do is chain 1, turn, work our way down, and once you reach the bottom around the neck, all you're going to do is slip stitch into the next 2, turn, go on doing that until we reach here. So you go on doing that, and I'll meet you once we have reached around here so we can connect together. So I have finished making my collars. I've gone around all those single crochets around the collar, so now it's time to connect, and I ended up here. It may be a case where you're going to end down here. The idea is still the same. So to connect, you're going to align your work properly like this, and all we're going to be doing is slip stitching pretty much. So into the first chain or stitch from the hook, you're gonna insert your hook like we did, and then you're gonna locate the first stitch on the other side and do the exact same thing. Yarn over and just pull through all 3, and then here in the back loop again, you're gonna insert your hook into the next stitch and do the same on the other side and just pull through with a slip stitch. Let's do that again together. Insert your hook, find the stitch on the other side, insert your hook, and pull your yarn through those 3 loops. Let's do that one more time together. Find your chain, insert through the back loop, find the other side, and insert your hook, and pull the yarn through those 3 loops. So you go on doing that, and I shall meet you once I've reached the end. So I'll show you how to fasten off. So now I just finished working on the last slip stitch, and all we're gonna do to finish off the row is chain 1, grab our scissors, there we go, and cut it off, just like that. So we're gonna turn our work inside out after we're done, so it doesn't really matter when it comes to weaving it. Now I worked on one side of the arm, and we're gonna do the other arm together. So the idea is the same as we did around the neck. We worked a whole row, we worked in the round with single crochets. We're gonna do the same on the arm, but we're gonna start down here under here on the armpit, so that it looks a bit neater. So what I'm gonna do is connect my yarn just like that, and I'll chain 1. And I'm gonna work over these 2 pieces. And all we're gonna do is, as we did around the neck opening, we're gonna place single crochets in the possible spaces. You will get some spaces where it's gonna be easier to see. It's gonna be easier. There will be already stitches there, and it will be easier for you to just insert the single crochets. So you go on and do that, working all the way around, and just try and make sure that the number you make on the side is the same on the other side, so that the arms, the armholes they look similar. One doesn't look bigger than the other, So you go and do that, and I'll meet you once I have finished making my rows. So I lost the footage on how to make the arms. I don't know what happened, but the concept is the same. The very same way we did the neck. All you're gonna do is connect at the underarm right here, and you're gonna work a row of single crochets. And then after you're done, you're gonna make a chain of 6 because you wanna go down with 5 single crochet rows, and you're gonna do exactly what we've been doing here, just on the arms, and you're gonna do that for 2 sides.